Well, hey, everybody, I'm Brian Taylor. I'm a worship pastor and executive coach, and I've had the privilege of serving the local church for the last 20 years. And I wonder, have you ever experienced being completely swept away, losing track of time and space as you were fully immersed in a moment? As a creative, those moments can feel like pure gold. I remember the hushed silence in the theater when Thanos snapped his fingers in Avengers Infinity War, leaving us all stunned. Then there was an unforgettable experience of getting floor seats to see Coldplay for the first time to celebrate my birthday years ago. I don't think I closed my mouth after that show started, other than to wipe off the drool. Amidst incredible moments like this, some of my most profound experiences have been in church. One moment in particular stands out. My wife and I were leading worship after being in a significant time of transition for our family. Our kids are ministry kids, and they've come along with us their entire lives. That particular season was a lot for them to process. And towards the end of the worship set, through my tears, I saw my teenage son completely lost in worship. And as a dad, it's hard to adequately describe what that did to me and how grateful to God I was. You and I are wired to connect, to feel, to experience. This inclination doesn't end when it comes to the things of God. He created us to know Him, His nature, His power, and His grace. As worship leaders, we have the sacred responsibility of stewarding those experiences when the church gathers, be it in a sanctuary or a living room. We get to create environments that set the stage for an encounter with God's presence and power. And we love a good mountaintop experience, don't we? When the room is charged, the hands are up, and we're heading back for another round of bridges. There's just something about those moments. And as breathtaking as they can be, there's even more beauty beyond them. Those encounters have the power to produce something, transformation. In Acts chapter 16, Paul and Silas find themselves thrown in prison after being attacked by a crowd, stripped and flogged. We pick up at verse 25, which is likely a familiar passage to many of us. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. And suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open and everybody's chains came loose. Now, this is the point of the story where we often stop and go, wow, what an incredible encounter. And it was. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, this encounter wasn't about a prison break at all. The jailer wakes up and prepares to take his own life when he realizes what has happened. But Paul shouts, "Don't harm yourself. We're all here." I'm sure some real criminals are in that prison, and rightly so, but no one tries to escape. Everyone stays put. Then watch what happens. The jailer calls for lights. He rushes in and falls trembling before Paul and Silas, asking, "What must I do to be saved?" That night, the jailer and his entire household end up getting baptized. He takes Paul and Silas to his house, washes their wounds, and feeds them a meal. And then they go back to the prison. The next day, the magistrates order their release, and Paul says, "After what you've done and how you've treated us, you come yourselves and escort us out." And they do just that. We can focus so much on that prison encounter at midnight that we miss the seed of transformation planted in the prisoners and the life change for the jailer and his household. And let me ask you this, what do you think is a better testimony? That Paul and Silas escaped like criminals in the middle of the night, or that they had the opportunity to escape, but they stayed? Instead, they were publicly escorted out by those who put them in prison. Here's the thing. If you and I stop at just the encounter, we can miss the transformation that the encounter is designed to produce. And our prayer as worship leaders should be that through the great songs and impactful moments, people are being changed in God's presence. That what's being cultivated in them will sustain them long after they come down from that mountaintop. So, if you want to transform the worship culture at your church, be clear on your mission. As you're crafting worship experiences, do it with transformation in mind. Pray for it, lead towards it, and believe that God can do it. The beauty and power of an encounter with Him is that we never have to leave the same way that we came.